So, yes, you probably guessed from the thumbnail, the humble bin chicken cops it once again. So this is a new couple that I've come across. They've only got 12 videos. They've got, at this point in time, 800 subscribers. So if you like their stuff, then the link for their channel will be included, of course, and the link for this video will be in the description. Hop over, subscribe to their channel, check out their other videos. So this is a couple called Teresa and Mike down under. You'll be able to tell from their accents that they're not originally from Australia, they're from the UK. And in this video, they're looking at things that, having recently arrived in Australia, they consider to be a little bit weird. Now, before we jump in, I am just going to say a huge thank you to all those subscribers who do continue to watch my videos, who continue to hit the like button and leave comments. As you may know from one of my previous videos, I've had a lot of fraudulent copyright claims, which are actually having a negative effect on my channel. So when you hit the like button and you make comments, that means that my videos are being put out into the algorithm for other people to see, as opposed to just kind of vanishing and being hidden under a rock. So thank you so much to those of you who are still supporting my channel. I greatly appreciate it. So let's jump in and have a look at this video by Teresa and Mike and see what they think is weird about Australia.
Hi. As you can see, Michael looks a little bit different today. Welcome back to another video with me and Ginny. Sorry, you've been replaced. Yeah. Oh. She knows. She said, okay, that's my stint over. That was really cute. She wanted to go.
If you've been following this channel for a while, you probably realised by now that I'm a sucker for any channels whose animals happen to pop up when they're working on videos. So straight away, that's a win for me.
Whew. Every country's a little bit weird, and Australia's no exception. It's definitely got a few of its quirks, hasn't it? So here are 9 things that we've found very quirky from the UK. Okay, number 1, bush turkeys and bin chickens. I thought you have that one.
I love them. I love both them, bush turkeys and bin chickens. They're incredible. They're just always roaming about. You go out for a walk, for a picnic, go to the beach, they're always there wherever we go. And I'm always out with a camera. I have to film it or take pictures of them every time.
So that's kind of the first really good video I've seen of these bush turkeys. And they're not such bad looking birds, really. Okay, I did a screenshot that's kind of crap and doesn't really showcase them. But yeah, they don't look so bad. I can see why you would like them. Straight away, obviously, the moment you start hearing about bush turkeys and bin chickens, you know these people are no doubt in Queensland. I'm glad they like bin chickens, because I have to say, I was starting to get a little bit concerned, given that the last several videos that I've done, people have just been mocking the poor bin chicken.
Sometimes they're friends as well. We saw 1 or 2 hanging out with each other, didn't we?
Oh.
Bush turkey and ibis.
The bin chickens are obviously called bin chickens because generally they raid bins. They're scavengers for food, but I think they look like really prehistoric. They look quite cute. I don't think that is the general consensus over here. Willow's just learned how to open a door.
Let me in! Let me in!
I don't think bin chickens are that well loved, bless them, are they? But I love them. I think they're really cute.
I think the kids love them because bin chicken sort of brought them up, hasn't it? It's given them a bit of fame, hasn't it? Quirky little name, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, since having that nickname. Because they're actually called the ibis.
Yeah.
Ibis, aren't they? And bush turkeys are cool. Have you seen how fast they run? The bush turkeys, they're so fast. They're like little, like, what's that dinosaur that runs through?
Like the raptors and Jurassic Park.
That's it, the raptors.
Well, I've just learned something about bush turkeys. I have to say, that's interesting, because it reminds me of the native hens that you see down in Tasmania. there used to be quite a lot of them on Maria Island, and when we would go camping there, we nicknamed them electric hens because, like bush turkeys, when they get moving, they really go.
Number two, fuel prices. So they tend to fluctuate quite often, and you tend to get certain days where it's like cheaper. I think Germany do a similar thing as well, but Tuesdays I think here tend to be the day you want to fill up.
Which is really random that fuel prices change like on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and there's some days that are cheaper than others. And also even just like 10 minutes away it'll be a completely different price, even though it's the same sort of location in a sense. Yeah, it's really strange though to get your head around. When you first move here, you can't figure out why they're changing all the time.
And why one's $2 and one's $1.60 somewhere else in a 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep. While I try to avoid being political, let's face it, fuel prices are one of those areas where Australian governments have year after year been utterly toothless in controlling the fuel industry. If there's a long weekend coming up, you can guarantee on the Thursday that the fuel prices are going to go up. Then come Tuesday, they go down again. Holidays, same again. And you hear the various automobile bodies in each state. I know RAC in Tasmania and Victoria have often jumped up and down about the issues over fuel prices, and nothing ever changes. And, you know, they're so right about the different prices in different areas. I can go to the APCO service station here in Bendigo, which is a somewhat independent fuel station, and that's usually cheaper than the BPs and Shells and stuff like that. And I can get fuel cheaper there than what it is down in Melbourne. Explain that to me. Because I would imagine that fuel for Bendigo is going to be brought up from Melbourne, because that's going to be the closest port for fuel imports. We're only 2.5 hours from the ports in Melbourne, whereas Sydney, well, that's good 14 hours away. So there is really poor regulation when it comes to fuel prices in Australia. So true.
Number 3 is bare feet. Bear with me. So, a lot of people in Australia, a lot of people you'll see walking around with bare feet, and that's in the street. They even go in the supermarkets, in the shops.
I went to the cinema actually, and there was a woman next to me, and she just had her trotters out.
Literally, it's really random. Like, but I get it, because everywhere is super clean. Like the paths and the roads and public spaces are really clean, so you can walk around with bare feet and it won't get absolutely dirty like you probably would in England if you were to walk around bare feet, minus the glass and everything.
Definitely a fan of it.
Isn't it meant to like ground you? And I don't mean like literally ground you. I mean like there's like research, isn't it, that it's actually good for you to walk bare feet.
Probably.
I don't know how true that is, but
yeah, bare feet. I like it.
Okay, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again, other than to say that for the most part you're going to see barefoot people in the far further northern areas of Australia. Here in Bendigo, I've only ever once seen someone going barefoot. In Tasmania, same again, very, very rare. It's where it is warmer and where people are going to go walk essentially from the beach to the shops, whatever. But in the southern states, not so much. But that's all I'm going to say on it, because I've gone over this so many times.
So every country has its own abbreviation of words, their own made-up words, and Australia is renowned for this, I think. Everything is just, you cut it down to about a quarter of the length and throw an O on the end of it. So for example, like afternoon, they'll say arvo, servo, for the service station, and there's just tons of them basically. And once they string them all together in a sentence, it doesn't even sound English anymore.
No, I wonder if we can insert here the clip of, you know, that conversation.
So he chucks a Yui in the cruiser and heads on into the survey next to the salvos. You know, not the survey next to Macca's, the survey next to the salvos. While he's in there, he's pretty devo because he finds out they're actually out of Chicos.
It doesn't sound like English, does it, when they're all strung together?
No, when you're trying to have a conversation and every other word has been abbreviated. It's brilliant though. I think I like it though, to be honest.
I'm sure I would if I could understand what was going on.
Yeah, makes life easier, quicker, doesn't it?
So I'm just going to highlight the cameo from the other cat, who basically was rubbing its face on the side of the door while they were talking. So that was very, very cute. I would love to see, like say in 6 months' time, their reaction to shortened words in Australia, because I'm pretty certain by then they're going to be using half these abbreviations themselves, and they're probably not going to think it's quite so weird after all. I thought that clip, the cocktails, that was kind of classic. So very typical. It actually made me realise that in my other channel, the case that I'm talking about at the moment, where they are referring to McDonald's various times and they refer to it as Mickey D's, which is, I don't know if that's just a Florida thing, but I have kept referring to it as Macca's without thinking about the fact that I'm talking to a largely American audience who probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay, so number 5 is the public holidays for the King's birthday, and this wasn't too long ago, it's about a couple of months or two ago, where Australia actually had a public holiday or a bank holiday for the King's birthday, which is really funny because in England they don't get one at all, considering that's where the King lives. Everybody in Australia had a bank holiday, a public holiday, so I need to call them that now.
Yeah.
Okay, they used to refer to a lot of public holidays as bank holidays here years and years ago, but now you only hear them referred to as public holidays. And now I'm wondering if there is a differentiation, because, for example, in Tassie we had a public holiday for show day. Well, that was still a bank holiday, but it was a public holiday as well. So I think it's much of a muchness, isn't it? But moving on, how hilarious is it that we have a public holiday for the King's birthday here in Australia, but in the UK they don't, or in England they don't. Like, that's where the King lives. And to be honest, these days most Australians couldn't give two tosses about the King. Certainly most of us don't give a toss about his wife, and yet we're the ones who have the public holiday. That is so amusing.
Number 6, getting a next day doctor's appointment, which does not ever happen in England, like ever. But it's been so nice, so refreshing to just be able to go online, on an app or on the website. You literally choose your doctor. You can go to any doctors as well and pick a next day appointment, sorted. And obviously sometimes it is completely free, sometimes you might have to pay a little bit, but a lot of it is subsidised through Medicare. But just to have that
option,
freedom, the option of doing that and not be
sat there worrying for months.
Yeah, you know, so in England you have to ring up at 8 in the morning on the dot and then be 50th in the queue on the phone to speak to a receptionist who then decides whether you can have an appointment or not. Yeah. And a lot of the time you don't get it, so that has been amazing. That was lovely. It was really stress-free, and that's how it should be, especially when it's to do with health and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So it seems like Queensland has got their public health system nailed, because having lived in Tasmania and now living in Victoria, generally the wait here is about a week to get a doctor's appointment. Doesn't sound like it's nearly as bad as what they're saying the UK is, but it would be a rarity here to be able to get a next day doctor's appointment.
So number 7, alcohol you cannot buy at your normal supermarket.
It's not like England where you can walk around and just grab a bottle of wine or some beers off the shelf.
No.
They don't have any alcohol in supermarkets, at least not here in Queensland. There might be different for other states.
So you basically have to go to a bottle shop or a bottle-o.
Of course, bottle-o.
Throw an O on there. A little bit more expensive than I'd say in England, alcohol in general. So have drive-thrus. So
Drive-through bottle-os.
Yeah. So you pull up in your car and order, and they put it in your boot.
Yeah, such a strange concept.
Click and collect almost.
That's really cool though, I like that. But also you'll find that the bottle-os will be attached to or next to a supermarket, sometimes even inside the supermarket but as a separate shop.
Yeah.
So, you know, even if you are going shopping, it's really easy to just go and nip and get some alcohol anyway. So it's not like an inconvenience as such, maybe slightly. Yeah, it's just a strange concept to get your head around really and to kind of get used to.
Yeah, it's definitely made us drink less, I think.
Yeah, and maybe that's the intention, it's working.
Now I do recall looking at another video where they were in Queensland and even Aldi didn't have alcohol available in store. So, and I think there's another state where Aldi also doesn't sell alcohol in store because of the regulations within that state. But here in Victoria, yeah, Woolies and Coles don't have the alcohol there, but they have usually a beer, wine, spirits, BWS or something, pretty much right next to the store. But you go into Aldi and you can buy your grog at the same time, and NQR, which is like a discount chain, they have a little aisle with the alcohol as well, so it's not prevented here in Australia. It's yeah, it just depends on what state you're in, I guess.
Number 8, MOTs aren't a thing here. You don't legally have to get your car checked every year to see if it's up to the standards. As long as you've got your rego renewed in time, that's it. You can keep a rusty old banger going for ages. And you see quite a few of them, don't you? Ones that are on their last legs, but they're just still allowed to drive them.
Yeah.
It's really weird. But
you do have to get a rego every year.
Yeah, you do have to renew your rego, but you don't have to get it MOT'd legally or anything. So.
And they do obviously advise a service, which is slightly different, but I guess a lot of that comes under service as well. But yeah, don't need an MOT like you do in England. Yeah,
the service is kind of the MOT, but you don't have to get it.
Yeah. Strange.
There is, of course, laws in terms of having roadworthy vehicles, and you can get pulled over and slapped with a default notice, which you have so much time to fix, or if it's a serious default, then they may take your car off the road immediately. I guess the closest thing we've got to MOTs is that you've got several states where if you sell a vehicle, then it has to have a check done on it first, and it has to pass an inspection. So in Victoria, if you're selling a vehicle or buying a vehicle, it's got to have a roadworthy inspection done. In Tasmania, it doesn't, but I know that a lot of states you've got to do roadworthy before you could actually sell a vehicle.
Number 8 is gas bottles. So when we... Number 9 is gas bottles. So when we first moved into our rental, we were trying to set up our gas supplier, but it kept saying they don't supply gas to this address, and we thought, well, how on earth are we going to get hot water? So we actually realised when we moved in that there were some giant gas bottles in the garden, and you have to basically buy those every now and again, and that's what fuels your hot water. Yeah. So it was really odd. We were like, what on earth are these gas bottles? How do we know how much gas we have left? How often do we have to order it? We had no idea that they even existed before we moved here. We just turned up and were like, we hope there's going to be hot water. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that was really strange, wasn't it, to get your head around? Yeah, I think I like it. Do you think it's more like worth your money?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know actually. You still pay a standing charge, I think, don't you?
Oh, okay.
No, you don't. You rent them. Sorry, you pay rent. So.
Oh, you rent the bottles, but then you have to pay to get them refilled. But you order them online. You don't have to do any of it. They'll come and deliver it and change it all and plug it all in for you, and off they go. So I think it sounds really straightforward and really easy.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just different.
Yeah, exactly. It's just getting your head around it.
Okay, well that's interesting. I'd like to know if that's everywhere in Queensland or just certain areas. Because here in Victoria, your gas is piped in. In Tasmania, mostly it's gas bottles, but I think they were introducing like piped in gas or natural gas in some areas in Tasmania. So it's interesting to hear that in Queensland it's gas bottles as opposed to having it just pumped in. That seems like a major inconvenience. It would be a real bummer if you ran out of gas, because it would be hard to keep track of. I know when I used to use just, little standard gas bottles that you get at the servo, it was hard to keep track of them to know when they were just about out of gas. And, even if you did have a spare, same again, remembering to make sure that the spare has been refilled before you ran out of gas. Not always happening. Or maybe that's just me. Anyway, so that brings us to the end of their video. I'm not sure if I would describe all those things they've spoken about as being weird or strange, but maybe that's just looking at it from the Australian perspective. I think there's not a lot of new things here compared to what other people have said in videos, except for perhaps talking about the gas bottles in Queensland and actually getting a decent look at the bush turkeys, and also learning about MOTs in the UK. I heard of MOTs, I just didn't know what they were. Anyway, that's the end of it. Thanks for listening. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Also, please hit the like button and please leave a comment below. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one.